Mikel Arteta in a big push to land Vinicius Jr. Plus, we look into what's holding the deal up, or the stumbling block, really, in the deal between him and Real Madrid. More on the image rights, more on the signing on fee, and that the wages are not really a big concern. We're talking Man United as well, and two contrasting stories this evening. One suggesting no further midfielder and maybe no further signings. Another suggesting a bid in the region of £60 million could be made for Lewis Hall. Plus, we're going to delve into why the Yandy Amande has been held up. I'm not sure why Fabrizio Romano is getting so much stick and so much criticism for this. I'm a little bit confused by it. But as ever, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for the support you gave whilst I was away on holiday. KJ smashing the live streams. But I'm back. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's do this. Now, I want to move on to the Vinicius Jr. Stories today, because there's so many to go through. We're going to get onto this huge bid, this huge push, this huge movement and sort of approach and a directness from Mikel Arteta towards this deal. Before I do that, I'll show a few other different bits and pieces surrounding this deal. And there's a big story that came out today that goes into a fair amount of detail about the deal. That says the real sticking points for Vinicius Jr.'s renewal isn't the salary, it's image rights. Kylian Mbappe holds almost 100% of his, and Vinicius Jr. wants the same treatment, with 18 international brands already on his books, including Nike, Apple, Prada, Pepsi, etc. Now, this is really key, and it is really, really significant, and I'm going to tell you why this is. I've mentioned the image rights a few weeks ago when people said they don't think that Arsenal could even afford to buy him, and I said the salary is important, but the image rights are huge. And it has been reported by numerous sources that Arsenal are prepared to give 100% of them away, which means essentially off the image and the commerciality of Vinicius Jr., Arsenal Football Club will make no money. However, they will sell lots of shirts. They'll sell lots of different merchandise with his image on, which they'll have the right to do. But when it comes to brand deals, etc., that element will be exclusive. And Arsenal are prepared to forego that. The same as Real Madrid, we're prepared to forego nearly 100% when it comes to Kylian Mbappe. Also, though, one of the other reasons why net spend is a myth, because you could have a player that cost 80 million more on net spend, but if the football club owns 50, 60, 70% of their image rights, the income they generate from that player outweighs that of someone they own no image rights of. Therefore, over the course of a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, the guy with the higher net spend is actually going to be a cheaper deal from a financial standpoint. But that's first and foremost when it comes to this deal. The other points here in that same article that are very worth reading, and I wanted to go through this with you, is... let me just read this to you here, because it's now moved off my screen, which is no good. And I should have probably set up some more. What's the word I'm looking for? I should have probably set up a few more overlays. That's the word I was looking for here. So I mentioned the real sticking point that's around. It says here that in 2002, Vinicius Jr. signed a contract to earn 75 million euros net until 2027, an average of 15 million per season. Now he wants to earn around 20 million euros plus image rights. It is still being stated right now by big Madrid sources that Real Madrid are not willing to give him what he wants. But now we know he's back at training. We know that he's obviously getting himself fit and everything along those lines. But the real big sticking point sits and surrounds the situation with his bone. He also wants a big signing on bonus as well. Some people report that to be as high as 20 million euros. Again, Madrid pushing back and saying we are just not going to do that. So, as I have said all along, from an opinion perspective, if he stays at Real Madrid, it's either Vinicius or Madrid that are going to cave. One of them is going to roll over and say, I accept you. You're the dominant force in this negotiation. Boom. Done. We know that his preference is to stay at Real Madrid. But we also know, because it has been very credibly reported, that, and I want to make sure I say this in the right way, that he doesn't feel that he's being paid what he's worth. So where Arsenal come in and where Arsenal have already made a massive offer on personal terms, are willing to give him what he wants, is to say, well, we see your worth, we see your value. And I think that is fairly significant. Now, of course, Hand of Arsenal reported, I'm sure my sausages will come out and say, well, Terry, you said personal terms were agreed. I didn't. I reacted to a news article that said it, and from Hand of Arsenal, and it was said in a slightly different way by Ornstein. I think what Ornstein said, I want to make sure I say this in the right way, is that Arsenal are all in, and the 26-year-old winger attracted by the opportunity. And there's been a few other updates that's, attracted or would be open to the idea. I think Ben Jacobs' words were, and I quote, I think Ben Jacobs said something along the lines of, if he decides he wants to join Arsenal, there's a green light to start negotiate. There's already a green light to start negotiating, which means if he decides to leave Real Madrid, he's already kind of given a green light because he knows what he's going to be offered. So there's variations of the same story. Hand of Arsenal also said Rock Nation who the representatives would deny it, and they have denied it, and they've got to deny it. And again, that isn't a negotiation technique. That is to make sure the Madridsters don't turn against him, because if he signs a new deal with Madrid, but they admit publicly they also signed a new deal with Arsenal, because the way the media thinks football fans are stupid, and to be fair, some are, it'll be, oh, we only done that to try and get more money out of us. You don't really like us. And that annoys some football fans of the club that you're renewing with. Although he isn't doing that at all. He's trying to get paid what he's worth. And he's keeping his options open like all professionals should do, the same as all their clubs do. But football fans just don't think in that way, which is absolutely fair, but it's the way it is. Now, the real charm offensive that's coming on right now, the big bid, the big push from Arsenal, and now Felix Diaz has put this out, is that Arteta has taken matters into his own hands and already spoken directly with Vinicius Jr. As Arsenal set up their pursuit. Arteta has made it clear the Brazilian would be the centerpiece of his project, with Arsenal prepared to bid 150 million euros for his signature. Now, we know Felix Diaz is a credible source when it comes to matters related to Real Madrid. And the one thing I would say is that Mikel Arteta has quite a good track record, I believe, when it comes to him getting directly involved in these transfers. And it's when you read stories like this, it gives what Hand of Arsenal says a lot more credibility and a lot more chance that it is true, to personal terms being agreed in principle. And even then, personal terms being agreed in principle, everyone's going to have a different view. And I gave you an example earlier today. Terry, what do you believe a close deal is? Now, I think say there's 10 stages to signing a player, from the moment you as a club decide that's your number one target to him holding the shirt on the club website. Say there's 10 stages, hypothetically, to make this clean and easy. I think when you get to sort of stage 7 and beyond, the deal is close. The issue you might be on stage 7 or stage 8, but the next 2 or 3 stages might take you a month, 6 weeks, because of a legal issue, because of an international tournament, because you're on holiday. Just to name 3 examples. I believe that deal is close, even though it might take another 4, 5, 6 weeks. Where others might look at it and go, well, it's close because we're going to get through the final 6 stages in the next 2 days and it's going to happen. And because it's close from a distance point of view, a time perspective, that's what close is. And I think sometimes people interpret things differently. So I think agreeing personal terms in a principled, agreeing terms in principle would be, Terry, we're going to pay you X, Y, and Z, bonus X, Y, and Z, image rights at this level, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Would that be acceptable? Do you know what? If I decide not to renew at Real Madrid, that's an amazing offer. I'd accept that. No questions asked. That's brilliant. Now, for me, that's personal terms being agreed in principle.
One thing that I don't see changing is Declan Rice. I think whenever the team played well last year, he was part of that. He was a big part of that. He needs a rest now. He's had a lot going on in the summer as well, of course. But yeah, to add quality, Bruno's a player that I really enjoy watching. I think with Mikel's coaching and how he'll try and shape the way he plays, plus his quality that he already has, I think yes, it will be a top signing if they manage to get it done.
I'll tell you who else might be a top signing is if certain Vinicius Jr ends up in the Premier League at Arsenal. How big a deal would that be? I mean, that would be something to pull off, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And I'm like everyone else. I keep reading it and
we start at Arsenal, and Sky sources understand this Vinicius Jr situation is edging closer to something concrete. The Athletic have reported crucial talks are set to take place between Vinicius, his camp and Real Madrid this week. Talks that will determine once and for all whether he signs a new contract at the Bernabeu or becomes available to Arsenal. Now, it's worth being straight with you here. Our understanding at Sky Sports has been that Vinicius isn't necessarily leaving Real Madrid, and that view hasn't shifted dramatically. But other reporting, including from the Independents, suggests there's genuine hope on Arsenal's side, with sources indicating a partial agreement has already been struck between the two parties on personal terms. Should those crucial talks at the Bernabeu fail to produce a new contract, Arsenal are, by all accounts, fully prepared to make Vinicius the highest paid player in the club's history. That's a significant statement of intent from a club that's already broken its transfer record once this summer for Morgan Rogers. Real Madrid, for their part, are dead set against losing him for nothing next summer when his contract expires, which means this genuinely comes down to one of two outcomes: a fresh deal in Madrid or a sensational move to North London. We'll know a lot more once those talks conclude this week. Now let's head to Old Trafford, where Manchester United have prepared what will be their most significant outlay of the summer, a £60 million bid for Newcastle left-back Lewis Hall. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed this move has been internally approved